The mirror never lies. Every relationship, every paycheck, every ache in your body is a mirror reflecting the conversation you have been having with yourself in silence. Most people spend their whole lives trying to fix the reflection while never touching the face causing it. Here is the shocking part. You have been arguing with your own life and calling it realism. The voice in your head that says, I'm not good enough, I'll never lose the weight, money is hard for me. That voice is not truth, it is a habit, repeated so many times it disguised itself as personality. Neuroscience now confirms what ancient wisdom always whispered. The brain cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined thought and a lived experience. So when you rehearse failure in your mind 10 times a day, your nervous system experiences 10 failures before you've even tried. This is why willpower alone rarely changes a life. You can fight a symptom for years and never touch its root. The root is always the same question. What am I choosing to believe about myself right now, in this exact second? Change that belief, even slightly, and watch how quickly circumstances rearrange themselves to match the new frequency. This is not mysticism, it is cause and effect, just operating on a level most people were never taught to see. The moment you stop blaming your parents, your ex, your boss, or your bank account and start asking, what thought pattern created this mirror? That is the moment your entire life quietly begins to turn. The mirror was never your enemy. It was the most loyal messenger you ever ignored. Your body is taking notes. Every unspoken resentment, every swallowed tear, every I'm fine that was actually a lie, your body has been recording all of it in a language of its own. Tension, fatigue, chronic pain, illness. Here is the shocking truth almost no doctor will say out loud. Emotional wounds that are never processed do not disappear. They relocate into the neck, the lower back, the stomach, the chest. Guilt often settles in the joints. Fear tightens the throat. Unexpressed anger can quietly poison the liver over years. This is not about blaming yourself for being sick. It is about finally understanding that the body has been trying to get your attention with a language softer than words, sensation, and you kept overriding it with painkillers and denial instead of asking, what are you trying to tell me? The moment you stop treating your body like a machine that malfunctioned and start treating it like a loyal friend that has been protecting you the only way it knew how, something shifts. Healing rarely begins in a hospital. It begins the instant you stop fighting your own body and start listening to it. Chronic conditions that have no cause often have a very clear emotional signature once you learn to read it. This does not replace medicine, it completes it. The body was never against you. It has been trying to save your life the entire time, and all it ever wanted was for you to finally turn around and say, I hear you. I'm sorry it took me this long. The prison built from one sentence. There is a sentence so small, so quietly repeated, that it has silently defined the entire shape of your adult life, and most people have never once said it out loud to examine it. It usually sounds something like, I'm not lovable, I don't deserve good things, or something bad always happens to me. Here is the shocking part. You likely adopted this sentence before the age of 7, from a moment you don't even consciously remember. And you have spent every year since then unconsciously collecting evidence to prove it true. This is the cruelest trick the mind plays. It does not look for the truth, it looks for confirmation. If you believe you are unlovable, you will notice every slight and dismiss every kindness as an exception. If you believe you don't deserve success, You will sabotage the very opportunities you prayed for and call it bad luck. This single sentence, buried decades ago, has been quietly running your finances, your relationships, your health, and your self-worth, like a program running in the background you forgot was even installed. The good news hiding inside this shocking truth is this: if a sentence was learned, it can be unlearned. The moment you drag that sentence into the light and ask, is this actually true, or is this just old and familiar? Its power begins to dissolve. You were never broken. You were simply repeating an old story on autopilot, and today is the day you finally get to rewrite it. Words are not neutral, they are instructions. Every single word you speak about yourself is not a description. It is a direct instruction given to your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind obeys without question or debate. Here is the part that should genuinely disturb you. I'm so stupid. I never have enough money. Nobody ever chooses me. These are not harmless complaints. They are commands, repeated daily, that your inner world takes as literal orders to fulfill. Most people would never dream of speaking to a child the way they speak to themselves in the mirror every single morning. Yet they do it without a second thought, then wonder why their life feels stuck in the same loop. This is because the subconscious does not process sarcasm, exaggeration, or "I was just venting." It hears the words at face value and gets to work proving them right. This is why simply thinking positive once in a while rarely works. One affirmation cannot outrun a decade of repeated self-insults. But here is where it becomes genuinely exciting. Since words are instructions, you hold the exact tool required to reverse it. A new sentence, spoken with intention and repeated with the same consistency as the old wound, begins rewriting the same pathway that built the problem in the first place. You are not powerless against your own mind. You are, in fact, the only one who was ever holding the pen. The question was never whether your words have power. The question is, what have you been ordering on repeat without even realizing it? Forgiveness was never about them. Here is a sentence that will shock most people into silence. Holding on to resentment toward someone who hurt you does almost nothing to them. They are likely living their life untouched, while it quietly corrodes your own nervous system, your sleep, your relationships, and even your physical health, one day at a time. Refusing to forgive feels like justice, but it is actually a slow, self-administered poison disguised as self-protection. This does not mean excusing what happened, minimizing the pain, or pretending the wound didn't matter. That is a common and painful misunderstanding. Forgiveness is not a gift you hand to the person who hurt you. It is the moment you finally take the key out of their hand and stop giving them permission to keep hurting you every single day, years after the original event ended. As long as the resentment lives rent-free in your chest, that person is still, in a very real sense, controlling your mood, your energy, and your peace from a distance, even if you never speak to them again. The most radical form of freedom available to any human being is the decision to say, I release this not for your sake, but because I refuse to keep carrying something that was never mine to carry forever. This is not weakness. This is the single most powerful act of self-respect most people will spend a lifetime avoiding. The past cannot be edited, but your grip on it can be released, starting today in this very moment. You do not have to earn the right to be loved. Sit with this for a moment because it will likely contradict almost everything you were unconsciously taught. You do not need to achieve more, weigh less, earn more money, or become a better version of yourself before you are allowed to feel worthy of love. You are worthy right now, exactly as you are, without a single condition attached. Here is the shocking part most people never confront. An entire lifetime can be spent chasing achievement after achievement, believing that the next one will finally deliver the feeling of being enough. And it never does, because self-worth was never actually located in the outside world to begin with. This chase is exhausting precisely because it is unwinnable. You cannot out-earn, outperform, or out-achieve a hole that can only be filled from within. The belief, I am not enough, simply follows you to every new job, every new relationship, every new mirror, no matter how much external proof is stacked against it. The moment you stop treating self-worth as a prize to be won and start recognizing it as a fact to be remembered, the entire chase quietly ends. You stop performing for love and start simply receiving it, including from yourself. This is not indulgence or arrogance. It is the single most stabilizing truth a human being can accept. You were never behind. You were never too late. You were enough before you accomplished a single thing on your list, and you remain enough now. What if the life you're currently living, the tired body, the empty bank account, the relationships that keep repeating the same painful pattern, what if none of that is actually your fate? What if it's simply an echo of a sentence you started believing when you were 5 years old and never once questioned since? What if the very thing you've been calling just who I am is actually just a habit, a thought, repeated so many times that it convinced you it was permanent? In the next few minutes, I am going to hand you something that most people go their entire lives without ever receiving. Proof that your mind has been quietly writing your reality this whole time, word by word, thought by thought, and the pen has been sitting in your hand the entire time. Stay with me till the very end, because the moment you understand this, you will never be able to look at your own life the same way again. The life-changing teachings. What if everything you have ever believed about your limitations was never actually true, just repeated so many times that it started to feel true? Look around your life for a moment. The body that aches in the same place every single week. The bank account that always seems to hover just below enough. The relationship pattern that keeps showing up. Different face, same heartbreak. We call this bad luck. We call this just how things are. But what if I told you that every single one of these is not random? It is a mirror, faithfully reflecting back the conversation you have been having with yourself in the privacy of your own mind for years, maybe decades, without ever once questioning it? Your subconscious mind does not know the difference between a thought you meant seriously and a thought you were just venting. It takes every word literally. I'm so stupid. Nobody ever chooses me. I'll never have enough. These are not complaints. They are instructions given again and again and obediently carried out. You have been the one holding the pen this entire time, writing the same sentence onto every new page of your life and wondering why the story never changes. And your body has been listening too. Every swallowed tear, every I'm fine that was a lie, every resentment you refused to release, has been quietly recorded somewhere in you as tension, as fatigue, as pain with no clear cause. Your body was never your enemy. It has been trying to get your attention in the only language it had left, and you silenced it again and again with distraction and denial. Somewhere back in your childhood, earlier than you can even consciously remember, you adopted one small sentence about yourself. I'm not enough. I don't deserve good things. Something is wrong with me. And from that day forward, your mind did something it has never stopped doing since. It started collecting evidence, not the truth, evidence, proof to defend a belief that was never even yours to begin with. It was simply handed to you, and you carried it like it was law. Here is where everything changes. If a belief was learned, it can be unlearned. If a sentence was repeated into existence, a new sentence, repeated with the same devotion, can build something else entirely. You do not need to fix your entire life today. You only need to change the conversation happening in the quiet, private moments no one else ever hears. And forgiveness, real forgiveness, was never a gift you were giving to the person who hurt you. It was the moment you finally stopped letting them live rent-free in your body, controlling your peace years after they ever laid a hand on your life again. Releasing that grip is not weakness. It is the most powerful act of self-respect that most people will spend an entire lifetime avoiding. But above everything else, hear this clearly. You do not need to earn the right to be loved, not by becoming thinner, richer, more successful, more impressive. You are not a prize to be won through performance. You are worthy right now, exactly as you sit here in this moment, with nothing proven and nothing achieved. The chase to finally feel enough through outside accomplishment is a chase that can never be won because what you have been searching for was never out there to begin with. Your life is not happening to you. It is answering you, responding faithfully to every word, every belief, every quiet thought you have repeated about yourself for as long as you can remember. And the moment you finally understand that, you also understand something far more powerful. If your mind built the prison, your mind holds the key. You are not broken. You were never behind. You are simply someone who is finally ready to change the conversation. Starting today, starting right now, starting with the very next thought you choose to think.